Hello YouTube, my name is Venator, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking you guys how I went from this fresh spawn in East Lake all the way to this full prime 13.5 ton killing machine. And I did this without leaving East Lake the entire time. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do, feel free to drop a like or comment below. It really helps me out. And if you don't want to miss out on a video, be sure and don't forget to click that subscribe button. And we are continuing our Deinosuchus adventures on Petits NA server. This is just after Futile and I got ran down by those two prime Tyrannosaurus Rex. So without further ado, let's jump right back into this new grow. And as you can probably tell, the first thing that we are doing right after we spawned in is we're going to run up here and hit the sanctuary. I always do this first. That way, if I die, I didn't sit here and grow and waste any time just to run up here and get killed. Because you always got to watch out. East Lake Sanctuary is a haven for Troodon gangs. If you get caught by one of these, you're going to get pinned and killed instantly. So just run up in here. I always get stung by the bees, that way I make sure that I actually got the task. I'm pretty sure that I already had it before then. Got stung, and we're heading all the way back down to the water. And luckily for me, there was plenty of schooling fish around. So if you didn't know, you can grab a schooling fish and set it on the shore. Once it's here, just let it sit here under the sun baking for about 7 minutes. It doesn't really have to actually bake. That's just what a lot of people and what I was taught when I first started playing call it. You can carry the fish around in your mouth and let it sit for 7 minutes, and then it will still give you a diet. But luckily for me, there was some bones just up on shore, so that's my perfect diet task out of the way early. Fortunately for me, there was a bigger gator in the lake, and he was a very chill dude. He was able to get a nice kill, and he brought the body over to the shore. That way I could feast on the organs. And with the abundance of food, the first part of this grow is going to be pretty straightforward. All I would do is go back and forth to the gastroliths, eat a couple, and wait for my hunger to drop, and then go fill back up on the organs. And you can do this for a very long period of time, all the way through the body and organs despawning. Because even if they rot, it will still give you diet. But I wasn't going to let that guy do all of the killing for me. I found these Carnos drinking at the water's edge. I was able to kill the first one, and the second one, well, he didn't quite like that, so he came to try and put up a fight. Probably seeing how small I was made him believe that he had a chance. But a baby Deinosuchus' bite force is surprisingly high, and you can drop things pretty quick. And if you're wondering why I'm hurt right here, well, before I could get the recording going for my next session, I got attacked from behind by a smaller dude. I started to fight back, and the second I landed a bite, he ran off, and I have no idea where he went, at least for now. But anyway, I grouped up with my buddy Futile, who was able to grab and kill a bigger gator, allowing me to fill up my hunger on all the organs, getting a really nice growth rate going. And if you really want to speed through a grow while you're here in East Lake, any kill you get or body that you find, bring it all the way over here to where the cave is. This is a huge gastrolith area and the best place to drop a body and eat, gastro, and grow. Just like we are doing here. And after I got my stomach all the way filled up, it was time to eat just a few more gastros and then head back into the lake to grow in safety. And as you can see, we got a nice 222% growth rate. We're gonna fly through this grow. And then that next morning, I spotted the same little croc that attacked me earlier. Only this time, I was bigger, because after he attacked me, he seemingly went and logged out, hoping to come back later and we would be gone. But that was not the case. He had swam by me while I was kind of on the surface, and as soon as he saw that it was me, because he could tell kind of by the colors, he tried to run and hide and play off what he had done. But it didn't matter. He was going down. And I kind of needed the food. A great hunting strategy to utilize in East Lake is to take advantage of the AI body drops. Here, I had found a boar drop and put it just off the edge of the shore. That way, things would believe that they could come out and get the drop and drag it out of the water, just like this aloe thought he could. And after about an hour of relaxing and growing, just patrolling the lake, Futile, he had to log off, so I grouped up with my buddy Riley Boy and was gonna help him grow. His food was really low, but he had found a bigger croc, and for the life of me, I could not see this guy. Like I always say, if you sit still on the bottom, it is very difficult to see. I swam right over the top of this guy, but eventually I tracked him down and grabbed him. And I will say, one of the biggest downsides to East Lake growing is that once you get larger, probably over the 3 to 4 ton range, your food options become severely limited. There's not a lot of large things that come to this lake and drink. And so you guys are going to see just how I survive. And it's going to be by mainly killing my own kind. Anyway, I took that guy's corpse over here to the cave entrance where all the gastros are, just like I was talking about earlier. This way, we can sit here and drop our food quickly and get all of this body eaten up. And after patrolling the lake and sitting for a while, I was at around the 5 ton mark, and my hunger, just like before, was starting to drop really quickly. But luckily for me, in my next session, I was able to get a couple kills around the sanctuary. Even at the 5 ton mark, occasionally you'll get these small to medium sized dinos that fight or come near the water's edge, and if you get several of them, they can give you a nice little boost to your hunger. I would be able to keep scavenging and getting small little kills like this for the next hour or so until we finally hit that coveted prime status. And just as we were on the brink of starvation, we finally hit prime, and so I was able to select my last 2 mutations. And now you might notice I don't have a first mutation, and this is because, well, we had so much food at the start I didn't want to take slower hunger drain, and I grew so fast I hit 50% before I even selected my first mutation. Big mistake on my part. And just as we were about to hit red hunger, I found a bigger Deinosuchus that I could grab and drown and kill. This guy was not paying any attention to anything under him and probably wasn't expecting such a big gator to be in this lake. And sadly, this is going to be the main way that I survive, by grabbing growing gators. Unfortunately though, this guy's body glitched, and I wasn't even able to fill all the way back up to 100%. And then here, as I was lounging around, waiting to hear something come to the water's edge, this poor little baby stego entered the water right in front of my head. And he realized his mistake too late. I had to munch him because he was a good little nugget, and hey, you guys know me, I don't give stegos any leniency. But unfortunately, I had to log there, and then the next time I came back in, I had to go right back to croc hunting, and I found this guy lounging just next to the shore. It's sad to say, but once you hit 8 tons, there's really not any other options for hunting you have here, unless you just get extremely lucky. We're gonna have a couple big things come into grab range, but overall, I'd say 80% of my meals here were other Deinosuchus. So, if you want to grow and hit prime here, it's definitely a good place to do so, but once you hit 8 tons, I recommend leaving unless you don't mind having to do what I'm doing here. Whenever my hunger gets really low, I just have to log out for the day and come back sometime later, hoping to find another croc that I can kill. And then again, I found 2 more baby stegos the next day trying to cross, and I was not going to allow that. Poor little guys, that was such a long swim anyway, might as well speed it up and let you spawn again. But as you can tell, the hunger situation just does not improve, and so other crocs pay the price. And I get it. These guys are probably very frustrated. They think they're in a very safe growing spot. But East Lake, just like any other place, can always have a big gator in it. And you should always play accordingly and check your surroundings and make sure that the lake's clear. As you can see though, that guy's body and bones will get me almost all the way back up to 100% food. The good thing about being a prime Deinosuchus is that your growth rate is 0%. So your hunger lasts for a very long time. And this just goes to show you how long I was going without seeing anything. Again, here, look, my hunger is under 10% again. So I had to log out and come back in another time, hoping to get another croc. And this is basically the only way I was able to survive and grow all the way to full prime in East Lake. So if you don't want to have to resort to killing a bunch of your own kind, well, this growing strategy probably isn't for you. And I know in this video, it looks like I'm just repeatedly killing Deinosuchus after Deinosuchus, but you have to remember, I'm logging in and out and spending an hour or more hunting and patrolling the lake each session, and I get about 2 of those before my hunger gets into that dangerous 10% territory. Luckily though, right here, I was sitting in the fog waiting to hear something come up for a drink when this big stego just ran right within my grab range. Unlucky for him. And I even sent out a message to see if there was any growing Deinosuchus here that would want the organs, because all I really needed is the body. And always keep an eye on this sanctuary side of East Lake. This is probably the most active spot, as you guys can see from this example. And this little Sarah, well, he wouldn't learn his lesson. He kept staying near the lake, thinking that he was safe and out of my range. Big mistake on his part. He incorrectly thought that I would be happy with these few small bodies, but I was a prime Deinosuchus, so I needed all the food I could get. And even at this size, enough of these small kills do add up, and you're able to at least scratch off a living for a short amount of time. It won't hold you over indefinitely, but hey, anything always helps. And occasionally at East Lake, you'll get things that want to commit suicide by croc, which hey, I'll always take the food. But occasionally, you do get lucky and find things drinking from the shore of East Lake. Unfortunate for them. Here, I was sitting on the south side of East Lake because I had heard some things calling in the distance. And that's when another Deinosuchus walked into the lake coming from the ocean. He definitely had to have seen me. I'm very large, and he didn't say anything in chat and immediately swam off. Well, I didn't know what his intentions were, and I had a few little buddies over on the sanctuary side that I was helping grow, so I didn't want him to go over there and kill him. So I grabbed this guy and decided to just go ahead and fill my hunger all the way back up. And this guy was pretty sizable. This food would allow me to sit and continue growing for a decent amount of time. But after another hour and a half of not seeing anything, and my hunger right about the halfway mark, I found another croc to grab. Unfortunate for him, but I started to draw the line at the halfway point. If my hunger was at 50%, any other gator in this lake that was at least over a ton or two was gonna go down. And here, funny enough, that guy's partner was just as happy to have the food. While he was a little upset that that was his friend, it took him a second to realize. And interactions like this just crack me up because that's just how the Deinosuchus life is to a T. One second you're happy for food, the next you realize that it was your buddy. But then you remember, hey, you got a lot of food, and a bigger guy is always good to have around, and he was not he was not long in wanting to group up. And so figured it was the least I could do since I just murdered his friend. But it couldn't help but make me laugh. It also turned out that this guy was a fan of the channel, and so that probably helped. But he was understanding because he knows that's just how the gator life goes. And after that, we were getting close to full prime. Just over 12.5 tons. It would take us about another 2 hours. And not too long after that, I got probably one of the best kills that I had my entire time here in the world. A very nice sized Rex was dragging a corpse away from the shore and was just inside super lunge range. I highly doubt he expected to get grabbed by a full prime out of East Lake. And that Rex would give me enough food to get me all the way to full prime. And once I had hit full prime, I had the Twitch streamers, Landmark and Mindflayer, come in to East Lake. I was really good on food, so they were not a threat to me, and I didn't need to eat them for food. I was also a big fan of Landmark. For those of you that don't know, he had been playing this game for a little bit when Burnt Peanut and Hutch kind of started playing, and I'm a big fan of his from Tarkov. I used to play a ton of Escape from Tarkov, so it was really cool to see one of my favorite Tarkov Twitch streamers playing a video game that I really love. But anyway, after I hit the full prime mark, these guys were really kind of hurting for food, and I was tired of staying in this area. As you can see, I was incorrect a few seconds ago. I'm 13.4, so it's just going to be a few more minutes before I hit that 13.5 ton mark. But once I hit that mark, I went over to the cave and I entombed for these guys. That way they could feast on my body and continue their grows. It was the least I could do. But anyway, that's where we're going to wrap this video up. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next time, and happy hunting.